Hello guys, and welcome to my reading quest wrap-up. Now, my reading quest didn't go exactly as planned because my rogue was a bit of a meandering fool and kept on focusing on side quests rather than the actual main quest, which I didn't even finish in the end. But I did manage to read 6 books, so I'm quite proud of that achievement because, as you know, my fall semester at uni started, so I was quite busy during this whole thing. But without further ado, let's get started with the wrap-up. Now these are all the books that were on my TBR, but I didn't manage to read. So I was a bit ambitious. And these are the ones that I did read. I read 3 more, but they were library books, so... The first book I want to talk about is Tämä, jalka, minun. This foot is not mine. And it is a Finnish short story collection focused on body horror. And this collection was a bit of a hit and miss. Some of the stories were really good and engaging, and some were kind of amateurish. I was really surprised by the amount of LGBTQ+ rep in this book, so that was really nice. All in all, I gave this 3.5 stars. I think this book would have benefited from a second proofread because there were some typos in weird places, and that kind of broke my immersion a bit. But all in all, I still really enjoyed this and would recommend it to any of my Finnish viewers. Next book I read was Aurinko, Isäni, Son, My Father by Nils-Aslak, Valkeapää, and this was a poem collection. It is written by an author who is from the Sami people, the indigenous people in the Scandinavian Nordic area. And I really liked that poem collection. It felt really raw, and there was a sense of longing and melancholy in the whole poem collection, and it really critiqued the main populace and government of Finland, in my opinion. And it was a really heart-wrenching read. I do wish that it had come with a CD because some of the poems were left in the Sami language. I really would have liked to hear how it was supposed to sound, and I think that this collection would have benefited from having an audio companion. But I did give it 4 stars. Next I read A Natural History of Dragons, and I also quite enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed the fact that it has an older main character kind of narrating and reviewing her younger days and kind of going through her own character growth and kind of cringing at the things she did. That was really fun. But I was kind of disappointed in the fact that we didn't get as much of the natural history aspect as was advertised. The story focused more on a kind of mystery and human relationships, which I kind of found boring, to be honest, because I was expecting a full-on adventure delving deep into the whole dragon biology and stuff. It was still a pretty entertaining story, but not what I was expecting necessarily. And for my one-word title, I was supposed to read Solaris by Stanislav Lem, but I actually switched the book to Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer because it was a library book and I couldn't read it during Worldcon, so I had to quickly read it or return it to the library unread, so I decided to read that, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I think that it did a marvelous job at building up suspense. I liked the fact that we had an all-female crew. It was really refreshing. I also kind of like that there was a lot of things left unsaid and kind of left open to your own personal interpretation. I really enjoyed that. And then I read The Tempering of Men by Sarah Monette and Elizabeth Bear, and I really loved the first book in the series. I really enjoyed that. This book did not live up to my expectations, unfortunately. This suffers seriously from the so-called second book syndrome. A lot of setup, a lot of build-up for the third book, but lacking in characterization and character build-up, which was really unfortunate. This is a very short book, and it is split up between 3 point of views, which I feel that this book should have had like 200 to 300 more pages to kind of delve deeper into the characters and actually flesh them out. Right now it kind of was all set up and little meat on the bones. So I ended up giving this 2 stars. And the final book I read was Stone Sky by N.K Jemisin, and I devoured this book. As soon as I had it in my hands, I started reading it, and I'm still not over it because it was so good, it was so heart-wrenching, and I loved it. I loved the exploration of motherhood, I loved the exploration of good versus evil, what even makes a person good, and also the way this book deals with othering, oppression, and colonialism is really well written and very sincere. And I was really hooked on the character drama from the first pages of this book, because I think that the 5th season was an exploration of the world, setting things up, kind of putting the chess pieces in order and aligning them. Then we have the Obelisk Gate, which really delves deep into the characters, and I think this one finishes that up marvelously. We get more time devoted to the characters, especially Essun and Nassun, and I really enjoyed that, and I gave this book 5 stars, and I can't wait to read it again. I'm actually thinking I might reread this during Christmas break, because I enjoyed it so much. And there you have it, that was my Reading Quest wrap-up. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!